What's up, everybody? This is Big Swiss, and I am here with my friends, DJ LNF, Luke DiMarzio, and Just James. We are going to be doing a 2024 year in review on Christian hip hop. Guys, let's go around the horn. Tell us who you are and your platform.
DJ Lost and Found, homeless at the moment, but I get around to wherever platform is available. You know what I mean?
James.
Yeah, Just James, man, Christian hip hop artist as well, but part of Elevate Life radio co-host. So yeah.
What do you got? You guys got a new podcast coming up?
Not currently, no. We are working on. We're transitioning to season 5, so we are going to be working on that. And so yeah, looking forward.
Preview on the first episode.
We'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
That's right.
And everyone knows who Luke is.
What's up? I'm Luke. I got my ear to the streets. and yeah, I help contribute at Rapzilla. I do playlisting and write articles.
Sweet. Well, hey, LNF is the one who put this together for us. We kind of have a list of things that we want to talk about as the year had gone on. The first thing we want to talk about is big moments in Christian hip hop. The biggest one being kind of more recent was the Christian hip hop set at Rolling Loud. Did you guys get a chance to catch that?
Did. Yeah.
Not
the whole thing, but yeah, the Rolling Loud set, that's crazy, man. Shout out to Rodney Jerkins, Aliens Alive, who set that up, I believe. To be on that stage, bro, that's not something I saw coming in 2024. You know what I mean? So it's a huge accomplishment. I think that everybody, minus the technical issues that happened right early on, I think they did a great job, and I think God was glorified. You know what I mean? So love to see it. Love to see the next step that we're going to in 2025. And I think look out for Aliens Alive, because I'm curious what just having the cachet of a Rodney Jerkins is going to set up for us in CHH and going beyond.
Yeah, they were all at Holy Smoke Fest this year too. Rodney, he was in the panel for the Holy Smoke Institute that they do every year. I didn't catch it. Luke, did you catch it this year? You were at Holy Smoke.
Yeah, I was there. I saw a couple of those people. I didn't go to the pre thing though. So I know that Rodney, he led a panel at Holy Smoke, and I heard it was really good, but yeah, I didn't catch it. I think it's really cool that he put them on to Rolling Loud, though. I was really bummed, like the first 3 artists performing at Rolling Loud, how it was just going. And I could say this, it's whatever. I did not think that Alex should have played a guitar. I thought he should have just rapped, man. I didn't think it was the space for him to like do something that no one else does. I think it was the space for him to prove that he belonged. And I feel like, man, if it wasn't for John Keith and Dill and Holvey, it would have been it would have been bad. Yeah.
Yeah, they closed that out strong.
Yeah, that's my 2 cents. Yeah.
James, did you catch it?
Yeah, I did. Thank goodness for, I think it's David Livick. He posted it on YouTube, and so
Gotcha.
thank goodness for him. He posted it, and so yeah, I agree. I feel like No Big Deal and John Keith, Holvey, they killed it. They killed their sets. I feel like Gavi, Gavi's set was all right. Caleb's was, obviously had the technical difficulties with that and everything. And I definitely agree with Alex Jeans. I wish he would have just, like you said, Luke, just sung and did his set rather than playing a guitar. It was cool. There's a cool element during Holvey's set when he was doing it, but
Totally.
Yeah, I would have liked to just see his raw talent more or less, But other than that, man, it was definitely huge, man. Huge for the space. Holvey, definitely his set I really feel like his set just nailed it in, man, and just really, through the words that he was sharing and everything like that, really, was a glorification unto the Lord. So, man, it was an awesome thing to see, man.
Yeah, I think Luke and I were talking about this at Holy Smoke this year, of just how we felt like each of the artists had kind of one-upped their live performance. And from seeing also Holvey at the Unashamed tour from like 4 years ago he did a solo tour this year. I've just seen him level up his performance. John Keith has gotten a lot better with his performance. Dill has like tapped into some supernatural force of performance. So those three as like a final, like, you know, I don't know. Well, you're the better baseball guy, Luke. Is Holvey your number 4 hitter in that situation, or is he your number 9 hitter in that situation?
Yeah, he was batting cleanup. He was batting.
Yeah,
cleanup.
he was cleaning up. So that was pretty sweet. And then Luke, you had brought up another big moment from the year was Kayla's playlist and how that actually played into Rolling Loud as well.
At least I was just trying to connect the dots because Kayla puts out the playlist of, it's like CHH artists and the songs that they stole or something like that. And kind of just like to be funny because she's just hilarious. And but then like I think she ended up getting like 800 follows like really quick on it. And then people started taking notice. And not too long after that, Caleb Gordon was sharing how he was getting clearance on some of those songs because he felt convicted. So I don't know. Like, I was just putting 2 and 2 together, but it's possible that he wouldn't have done the set that he did at Rolling Loud if it wasn't for Kayla's playlist.
Okay, I'd be interested to hear if that's true. Let's see if we can get this clip out to Caleb to see if he can respond to that. But it would have been cool to get Kayla in here because she's such a nice, easygoing person, but her online presence is hilarious, somewhat trolly, and she would make that type of playlist, and it did create a huge buzz. Especially on Twitter. How many times have y'all gone through that playlist?
A lot. Like it drives me nuts because my kids play Fortnite and all that stuff, so they get all those viral songs. And but I don't know about any of those viral songs. My kids do. And then whenever it's like, oh, Red Tips does a version of that song, let's just play that instead.
The amount of times I've heard a Christian play Fiend, and I'm like, oh wait,
right.
let me redirect you.
Yeah. But even with that playlist, you're taking the optimistic approach, but I was like, man, bro, we're out here truly stealing. You know what I mean? From the mainstream. When we have talent, like the artists that were doing the actual theft, in my opinion, are talented. So I'm like, why are we out here? If you want to be influenced, cool. Everybody's influenced. Nothing wrong with that, right? But when you go to stealing, or even sampling, right, and not getting clearance, what's the end goal there? You know what I mean? Because it's not glorifying the God. You know what I mean? So, I think maybe for some people it's just a matter of a lack of legal knowledge. Maybe it is, just a business sense. But others is like, yo, this is just blatant, thievery. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think too. It's it reminded me of like we speak about the algorithms and whatnot, and people trying to stay up on the algorithm, and even the artists trying to do so as well. I don't think it was a sense of lack of creativity. I think it was more like some of these artists, to be honest, because of their huge platforms that they've, obviously, organically have built, but, they have to keep up with that demand, and I think a lot of them, I mean, to be honest, I'm pretty sure a lot of them listen to, these secular artists or whatever mainstream artists or whatever you want to call it, but, it's just, it's just a matter of them tapping in, and then they listen, and then it's like they have to like keep up with the demand of what's going on. And so I don't know, maybe it's like just an easier outlet for them to just go about it that way. But I mean, thievery is thievery too, though. So I mean, I don't know,
If I'm removing the thievery side of it, I appreciate it. Like I want that. That's the whole reason I even learned how to do mashups, was because I was like, man, I really like the secular song, but I hate the lyrics. So why don't I just find a Christian hip hop song and find something within a similar BPM and try and mash it up to make something I like. So I literally have an untitled playlist on my phone of mashups I've done of songs that I just like, man, I would really like to listen to this song again, but it just doesn't hit me the same way. So they're kind of taking the work away, which is nice, but also I get it. I think it's appropriate in the sense of like if you're going to do an Instagram reel, but if you're going to drop it on DSPs and try and like use it as promotion for an album, yeah, I agree. That's a very, very slippery slope. This ain't 1993 anymore. So that's wild. I definitely got a lot of that feed play though. It was kind of funny to see how many artists were repeat customers on that playlist as well. So you kind of saw.
I'm still mad at Kayla because I wasn't on it. I wanted the streams, but
you don't want to be on it though.
No, but I wanted the streams though. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
800 followers ain't nothing to sneeze at, man.
Yeah, that's true.
Playlists are hard to build, you know.
Well, let's get into since we're talking about artists, let's get into artists. So we want to talk about top artists, top songs, top albums. Who were your guys' kind of like maybe top 3 artists who had like the banger year this year? What'd you guys? Who are your like MVPs?
I'll go first. I think I might have some unorthodox ones. I have a top 5.
Ooh, okay.
Oh man, sorry, someone else got to go. I got to answer. The plumber's calling.
Plumber's calling.
Oh, good. Good. James, you got a list?
I can go.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I think for me, I mean, obviously being from the West Coast, obviously we're pretty tapped in with a lot of the West Coast artists here, and so I think one of the first ones on my list has to be Miles Minnick, man. Just the impact that he made this year and creating this safe space or whatever you want to call it between what he calls the new mainstream, which is the mainstream to the Christian hip hop scene. And so bridging that gap and him working with like La Russell and like all these artists that aren't per se part of the Christian hip hop space, they're part of the mainstream space, but he's bridging that gap. And so I think he has to be top on my list. No Big Deal. Another one had a huge year this year, man. You know, not only dropping 3 projects this year, I believe. Well, actually, if you want to count the Indie Tribe, that'd be 4. You know, but just phenomenal bodies of work. You know, and then having the Smoke Fest and all the things that came with that, and then yeah, it was just, I think he had a phenomenal year. And then probably next, I'll be honest, man, I think he might not be on many, but I think he had a pretty big year too with C4 Katona.
Mm-hmm. He's on my list.
Yeah,
yep.
C4, man, had a good year this year, dropped his album with Dax Hammer, dropped the project with him in Dayton, and also was a pretty big contributor on A.O. Shamir's album, and so I think he had a tremendous year. I actually can't wait to see what he's got coming up this coming year too. I know he's got some things in store, so big year for all 3 of those guys.
Who's your first one, James?
Miles,
dope. Okay, cool. West Coast, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's
Should
go.
put my A's hat on.
Yeah, so I think all of us are going to say No Big Deal. So that's like a given. Like he killed this year. Yeah. Amazing. Like performing at Rolling Loud, Holy Smoke, putting out all those albums. Like he's amazing.
The Unplugged in Nashville. I got to go to that. That was insane.
Yeah. So I think that D1 is an MVP when it comes to just what he's doing, like challenging rappers to be better and not to just perpetuate just terrible stuff in their music, and calling people out, standing 10 toes down on what he believes, and like being able to back it up and being willing to talk to people face to face. I think it's been awesome watching him do that. And then the dude put out 2 albums this year too. And the one Loaded would actually probably, I think it ended up in my top 25. So yeah, he had some collaborations with Frito Bangs and Project Pat and guys like that. So like he had a great year.
And he's on tour with Brother Ali. I don't know if that wrapped up.
Right. No, that's really cool. I'll also say Jared Sanders had a great year. Jared Sanders, and especially with how his year started out, like I was like, oh, this is Jared's year, because I knew that he has other stuff in the tuck. Like he's got this other album coming, and initially he said it was all going to drop this year, and he ended up holding off on some of it. But he still released 3 projects this year, and stayed top of mind for me all year. And dude's so dope. I'm glad that he came back like he did, and yeah. And then another one, just because I got to rep the indies, and I think Swiss knows this guy, but another guy who dropped 3 albums this year that a lot of people don't pay attention to, KRL. He put out an album called You Are With Me. It's a dope album. He put out a collaboration project with Kieran the Light called Pray For Him. And he also had a collaboration EP with Don J Live for my Grammy NIM.
I love that EP. That EP
dude
is
so good.
So
He's
good.
so good.
It might be my EP of the year. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. And I met KRL at Flavor Fest a couple years ago. Just down to earth dude. He won the Cypher battle out there that year. It was the first time I'd heard of him, and he's been really consistent. But like, he flies under the radar. I think he's a really talented dude. He doesn't really have social media presence at all. Kind of just drops reels here and there. That's about it. And so I just really appreciate that dude. I thought he had a great year. Thank you.
What about you, Alan F?
Yeah, so, everybody said Dill. Dill absolutely had a crazy year. Was on top of everything, the news the entire year. I was going to go Jared Sanders next. Jared, to be out of music for 4 years, basically, and to come back and dominate, the algorithms is impressive. I'm taking notes. I'm like, okay, this is what I need to do for my next album rollout. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I see this stuff that I like. I dropped a song with Jared in 2023, I think. And to see that, how the ball really got rolling when he was running the rollout, it was crazy. So I'm definitely taking notes. And yeah, that album, I wish he dropped it. But whenever he drops it, it's probably going to be album of the year. Just saying.
Oh, hands down.
That thing is crazy.
It's the best album I've heard in 10
a long
years.
time. Yeah. So I think for my third person, another person who, all 3 of these guys have been, out for, or haven't dropped an album, I'll say for years. But Jackie Hill Perry, man, she made waves. Obviously she still has a name always, right? But to me, it's impressive to be out of music and then to drop music. And I think lyrically what she was doing on that album was incredible, or the EP. Even though I'm not a huge fan of the EP, but still, I think lyrically what she was doing was crazy. So for me, and even just the controversy. So I wonder, I'm like, yo, did you do that joint on purpose, yo? Because you was gonna get mad, and then they should start commenting, So we talk about the algorithm a lot. So I do question, was that an algorithm move? But either way, it's genius. So those are my 3.
Yeah, my top 3 have all been mentioned. So Deal, the fact that he dropped an album, an unplugged album, he dropped a remix album, he dropped These Are Not on the album, which was just a collection of a bunch of his singles from the last 2 years. He started a podcast. He was at Rolling Loud. Holy Smoke was great. His set at Holy Smoke was incredible. Just like the visual,
the live band and the backup singer.
It was so good. Like, he's just on another level this year. I think he's the one who's setting the bar for create like artistry, like the artist kind of thing. And then I'd say Jared Sanders is on that list too. I agree. Like, he just didn't let me forget about him all year. That was a good line, Luke. I totally agree. I can't wait for him to drop his next 2. I think they're gonna blow people up. Then I'd say C4 as well. C4 had some of my favorite verses of the year. I just really felt like 2 of the songs that he was on, one on the Judas album and one on the Everyday We Die, were like very personal, very relatable, and just kind of spoke to me personally. And then if I'm doing an honorable mention, I'd say 350 had a really good year too.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
remixing that No Big Deal album. I know a lot of people like that version better than Deal's version. I don't know where I sit yet. I need to do it through my list. And then his album is easily a top 5 for me this
Probably,
year.
yeah.
And so I've heard, this is a rumor, I don't know if I can say this, but the rumor is he's working on a project producing for Gavin the Hot Rod. And so Gavin coming back this year too was a big highlight for me. And just seeing him kind of, I thought he was leaving, and then next thing you know, he's back. He and Selah and forget who else was on that cipher. They single-handedly, Young Drew, they saved that cipher at Holy Smoke this year. So that was pretty dope. Not nothing against the other people on the cipher, but for those who weren't there, the power went out, and they were like, no, we'll go a cappella. Everyone be quiet, and they just ran it, and so it was really cool. So sweet. Those are our top artists. What about top songs, top records of the year? And now, do you guys classify these as? Will you classify a top song if it's on an album and was a single, or does it have to be a single that wasn't on an album?
I just
Or you just go
went
top
with,
songs?
Yeah, I just went
Cool.
song.
Great.
Yeah. Geez, top song. Top.
Yeah, top few.
Jeez.
Just what comes to mind, because that's hard. Like I know
It is
all of
really
us are
hard,
looking at our playlists right now.
So I'll start. Yeah. Speaking about that, No Big Deal album, Buzzin'. That joint is fire to me. So it's absolutely one of my favorite joints from both albums. And then another one, honorable mention, I would say is Odin. That joint made me cry just listening to that joint. So shout out to No Big Deal. Psalm 88, Jackie Hill Perry. That song was incredible, and that's the type of music that I want to hear from Jackie Hill Perry. And I'm really hoping that this album is in that lane. You know what I mean, for songs. Let's see, unconventional. I'll go Scooty Wop, 501 AM. You know, flipping the Kendrick, instrumental. The fact that he was even have the businesses to put it out, because I think Kendrick cleared it for any use for anybody. Putting it out on socials, putting it out on DSPs, and that joint, it knocks for me. So that's definitely in my top 10 for the year.
What song is that called?
501 AM.
Was that on his side A album?
It's
I
just
think
a
it was
single.
single,
Oh,
right?
it's a single. I
Yeah,
missed it.
yeah.
I
He was
missed
riding
it.
the wave, I'm not mad at him. Let's see. And one of my personal favorites of the year, Avery Harden, Real One.
Dude,
That song is crazy. Music
that
video.
song's crazy. The video is really good too.
Yeah. Super, super creative. I was like, oh, okay, one shot. Okay, I got you. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's another one that most people probably don't know, but for me, super impactful, super emotional, and really left an impact on me for the year. So I think a lot of my music that I liked this year was a lot less CHH turn up and was more emotional, emo.
Dude,
music.
and Avery's from Vegas.
I've
Shout
never
out to
heard of
Vegas.
Avery Harden. I need to give him a listen. You're just putting
Put
me
on
on.
him this year.
Yeah.
Put on him. He's dope.
That Atlantis 2 project that he dropped at the beginning of this year is really good. Yeah.
Okay, I'm adding it to my list.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's awesome. I love it when other people are listening to the same stuff I do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think
I'll end the list there because I got more.
Yeah. I think for me, man, I have a few. I have several. I put together a little playlist, so I'm going through it myself right here. But Tommy Zuko dropped one of my favorite songs this year, Pray for the Homies. That
He's so
another
underrated.
another West Coast guy.
Yeah.
Originally
yeah.
from Kentucky, moved to LA, now connected with Miles and the Glow Crew, and but man, that was a phenomenal song. That really had that was in my rotation all year long. Another one, man, he came back this year from quite a bit of a hiatus, and that's Braille with Yet Always Rejoicing. That song stayed on repeat on my rotation as well. That was a good one. Indie Tribe, DJ Mike LV with the Tribe on the Move, and then
Yeah.
incorporating that old school, like early '90s sound into that, and that was pretty dope, man. I like that record. That's a really fun record. Another one, this guy could easily be on my honorable mention for top artist this year, and he dropped a phenomenal album. I might be a little biased, but that is Soldier's Precise and Niku Beats, man. He got a song called Righteous on that album, Saved by Grace. Phenomenal record, dope lyricism. Like I said, he's my brother, so I might be a little biased,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, that's a good album too. I like
Yeah,
that album.
was good.
Yeah.
Hey, and ProSize put down a lot of work this year.
yeah, he really did. 3 albums, I think, this
Him
year.
and Intellect.
Yeah, definitely. So that one was up there. I'm gonna throw No Big Deal in there. The Renaissance, that was a dope
Yeah.
record. That stayed on
Yeah.
playlist. Even the Renaissance, the remix version, that was dope with 350
Yeah.
flip.
Well, and that line that the Christians got it. What's the line?
Mm-hmm,
Come on, dang, we should know this. Well, obviously, I was gonna say it stuck out, but I can't recall the line now.
Yeah.
You know what you're
I know
talking
what you're
about,
talking about, though. I just can't think of it either. At this
I can't
moment.
think of it.
Yeah, that one was on my on repeat and rotation for me. Another guy that's I feel like he's kind of a breakout artist this year. I think he made it onto the Rapzilla New Artist of the Year list, and that's Westside Mo. He got a song called Hit the Road. Man, that is a West Coast banger, man. Like, if you like
Dude.
West Coast Bay Area sound, it kind of has like this like Larry June-ish sound to it, but man, it is a vibe, man. That song go, man. So that one is over for me as well, man. But and then last one I'll say, man, and I like this one because I really felt like I didn't catch it, but our producer for the show, man, he actually caught this one. And she took a sample from like an old '80s record, I believe, for this record. But that is Yahweh by Kid Lee. That song was dope, man. I love that song, man. And that one stayed on repeat for us as well. Man. So yeah, that would be my top songs this year for me.
Dope.
I did kind of 2 different lists. So I did it. I kind of separated them into songs that kind of like stir my affections for the Lord, like the ones that kind of more resonate, and then I got bangers. And so the ones that like stirred my affections was Regeneration by Not Clyde. My number one though was Empty Without You by No Big Deal. That was my second most played song of the year. The only other song above that was not a song from this year. But yeah, of this year, that was my number 1 played song. I Shall Wear a Crown by Eshon Burgundy is on there. Sit Here from Naladeus. That one really touched me. How Many Days by Braille. James Joy by Syfy II. I really enjoyed his album a lot, and I got to interview him this year and just really enjoyed that conversation a lot. And then I also had Psalm 88 from Jackie Hill Perry. And then here's one that I don't see anyone talk about this group at all. I feel like I'm the only fan in the space. Alert 312 dropped an album this year, and Finding Beauty on that album, oh, that song gets me every time. So yeah, those would be my this ones that like get me teary-eyed, if you will. I hope I didn't just close my window. I just hit something and everything moved.
You look good, Swiss.
Okay,
You're doing
very
great.
good. And then for my bangers this year, let me pull up my banger playlist. There's too many on here.
You got
Never
categories.
Yeah, dude. Never Been Average. Social Club Misfits was on their deluxe with 350. Body Bag with Young Drew, Gavin the Hot Rod. God Make Everything Happen, Jared Sanders. Christian rapper Marty and Breno. Nope, Marty and Derek Minor. Christ-like Miles Minnick. AIM by KRL, Don J Live. I mean, there's just so many good bangers. Tribe on the Move was good. Healing Service, Tragic Hero, and Taylor Gray. I loved that one. Golf Course Meetings was fun. There's just so many. My bangers playlist this year is really long, and so there's just a lot of great stuff this year.
All right. All right, so now I'll back clean up and I'll just say all the stuff you guys didn't say. Because I already had some of those. Tribe on the Move is probably my song of the year. Like, that song's just so fun. And, like, because they dropped it early in the year, that's one I went back to all year. But besides that, I was trying to tell you guys about that Fathom song with Monster Tarver and Dayton and Chino XL and Cannabis and Crooked Eye. Like, that song is just insane. And he's going to be dropping a project with a bunch of collaborations like that. And just be on the lookout for that, because like it's going to go crazy, like just like that song went crazy. I think it's going to be a whole album like that. It's going to be really dope. Also Ayo Shamir, his song Let It Go with Mickey Fax and Jared and Dayton, and it flipped that Biggie instrumental. I thought that was really, really crazy. I had to rep the West with Miles Minnick, Boost It Up. I love that song.
That song's fun.
Yeah. And one that here's an artist. Alert 312 is very slept on. I agree, Swiss. Another person I feel like is really slept on, Jonah Daniel, is really dope. I know he's wavy and stuff, but dude's got some bars. Yeah. And his song Submit to God was like, that song is so crazy. And like, I swear, like it sounds like everything else out there. It's just a notch better for me, I think. And I got to chop it up with that dude for like hours at Holy Smoke. After one of the nights, we like stayed out at a coffee shop until like 2 a.m. He's so interesting, dude. It was cool. And to know that one song by him, like, yeah, it's good. I'm excited to see what he does. He's on God Over Money, so I imagine he's gonna put out something else this next year. Let's see what else. Swoop.
Well, I got one from that Judas album, 30 Pieces. That song.
30 Pieces. That's a good one.
C4's verse on that might be verse of the year for me.
Oh,
jeez, bro.
Yeah, that's crazy. I got 2 more. Swoop, Everybody's Going Through.
Mm-hmm.
That album is just perfect. But yeah, that song just hits. That song, talk about one that like gets you every time.
Mm-hmm.
And then a really fun song that I feel like goes overlooked, Stephen Otto's song Yeshua is really crazy.
Listen to that.
I love that song.
Slept on.
Yeah, that hook is just so fun. Like, yeah, it's good.
Peep it. I'll have to peep it.
Good list.
I'd also throw Run Lucifer up there with Dayton and C4. That song with Selah, that song got a lot of play from me this year.
We got to make a playlist of all these songs we just talked about.
Yeah, right. Right. The collective, we'll call it the collective playlist. All right, well, let's get into albums. Top albums, guys. This one's going to be tough. Before we hit record, we were all talking about how this year was really, really hard to nail down albums. When I look at each year, I do a best of CHH and then I tag the year in my Spotify. And the last few years, it has steadily increased in amount of songs. And this year it reached over 1,000 for the first time. And so this year was, this might sound like a bad term, oversaturated. I don't think there's such thing as being oversaturated with music that honors the Lord. So I'm here for it. Keep it coming. But yeah, what do you guys got for your top albums? Maybe not in any necessary order.
I think you already know this, Swiss. My favorite album of the year was C4 Cortona, Those Scars Remain. I kind of told you that when I heard it. And then I like geeked out on it and I tried to transcribe all the lyrics. Like I was like on that album for like a whole month. Like that was the only thing I listened to for a whole month. I think it's just so dope. Like, yeah. I already said this earlier. Swoop, We Go On is up there for me too. Let me see. I want to name something that maybe nobody else is going to say. Jay Kirk's album, As a Bird.
Near it.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So I just like he's very versatile, very creative. There was some mixing stuff on one of the songs on there. I don't know if it's a weird upload or something. That was the only thing that kind of threw me off. But I have it in my top 10 for the end of the year. Just mainly I want it on people's radar. I really like that album.
Well, you had sent me something from him earlier this
Yeah,
year.
you put it on your Lust playlist. Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. I'm gonna peep this album now.
And then the Sagas album, As of Late, is up there for me too. Yeah. And that was one that dropped way late in the year too, like C4 did, but
Yeah.
I still think it's really strong. I mean, you guys are gonna have the same other stuff on there but those are some that I know that maybe you guys wouldn't have in your top.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
Okay.
that's a good list, man. I definitely got a lot of those ones, and that J. Kirk album was good. It didn't make our top 50, but it was a good album. It was a phenomenal album. I just got to spend more time with it. But yeah, for me, we got our top 50 list, but like my personal favorites this year, Swoop, We Go On, that album, to me, that was album of the year by far. And the crazy thing is it dropped in January.
Yeah. I was about to say we got it all year too.
Yeah. And so we had the whole year to spend with it, and it stayed on repeat for me. I think it actually was, I think at the end of the year, Apple Music does all those like drops, all those replays and all that stuff. And it was like the top album for me this year. Just because it stayed on repeat. And I love the concept of it. It really resonated for anybody who's gone through grief or anything like that. It really hit home and it resonated. And so, that one was a good one. 350's album. Does anyone know You're Going This Way? That was a phenomenal.
So good.
Man, he blew me away with this album. I mean, I've always been a fan of his music because I always felt like he's kind of like a tweener between like the wavy sound and the boom bap sound. But this album like really like blew me away with like you could really just see the true artistry of what through this album. And so that album was definitely top tier for me. Jafia Life, A Wickedness Unrepentant. That album was, man, that was a good album. Like
that might be his most solid album since he was like with Beat Mart. Like it's been a minute since he's put out something that consistently good from track to track.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that album was always that album stayed on repeat for me. Just the content and the stuff that he was talking about, and then the constant themes that you were hearing throughout the record. Man, like I've always been a big fan of Jafia, but this one really, like, I feel like he took it to another level with this album. And it was good to hear him come back, especially being gone for so long, too. So Taylor Gray and Peace 586, Let the Church Say Amen. Mm-hmm. That was a great album, I feel like. And kind of taking it back to, like, that MC producer combination. But, man, it was a great body of work. I'm a big fan of Taylor Gray, and he just dropped another album, last week?
Yeah, I haven't listened to it yet. That was a
good album as well. But man, that album, Let the Church Say Amen, was a great album. I already mentioned this one, but I'm going to mention it again. Sojourners with Precise and Niku Beats, Saved by Grace. Great album, phenomenal album from top to bottom.
Yeah, even though you're biased in that, you're not lying though. That album
that's really
is
strong.
fire.
Yep.
Yeah, it was just a great body of work from top to bottom. And the crazy thing is, I heard a little bit of it prior to him releasing it, but like he didn't really let us hear a lot of it until it came out. And man, it blew me away because he's dropped a lot of good albums this year. Even the album Good As God is a great album that he dropped this year as well. But this one I felt like was just took it to another level. So yeah, that album was great. Let me think of one more I can probably throw in the mix. And he cracked our top 50. But I think Legacy dropped a great album this year, and Forever's a Day Away. Not a lot of features on there, just him really and man, like I've seen the progression with him, and he has gotten better and better through each album that he has dropped. And so that album is a great album. So if you haven't heard that one, definitely check that one out. But yeah.
Dope.
If you're up.
Yeah. So I'll do top 2 albums and then top 2 projects /EP just so it's, something different. But I guess top 2, 350. You mentioned 350. Crazy album. I'll say Jared Jared Sanders with Talk to Me Nice, Volume 1 though. I think for me that one, the songs in that one, I think it had the most impact for me. That album. So for me, those are my top 2 albums. And then if I go to EPs, Mouthpiece with Lazarus coming back.
Lazarus, yes.
Lazarus is fire.
Ridiculous. That man, you can't tell, if he didn't have an accent, you wouldn't know he's from Atlanta, So that album is absolutely ridiculous. I think a couple of those songs made my top 100 list. And then shout out to Mikey J with Minimal. I thought, and it's wavy. It's not, it's more sing-songy. But I thought it was magnificent. He hit my top 100 as well. And, I would love for it to get more love, man. So it's definitely in my top 2 for projects and EPs.
Just like Legacy, it's been cool to watch Mikey grow and get better and like hone in on his craft. I also see Mikey as someone that's like not scared to ask for help and surround himself with people that can push him and help him create a little better. I feel like, he continues to level up. I've been impressed by him.
Yeah, he moved from Dallas to Nashville this year to literally like be with Deal and all the and Bats and all those guys, and just like I'm going all in, and so I think it's going to pay off definitely.
Let me just add on Mikey J, his marketing too. That the whole, now I don't know if he set this up to be, wearing the do-rag for years and stuff and now taking it off and doing that whole transition. I don't know if he set that up, but it's genius. I loved it, and I'm like, yo, we need more of that in this space.
Yeah, I love it. I think Swoop for sure for me is on the list. When I first heard it, I was like, wow, I don't know how much replay this is going to get until I'm in a season of grief. And it wasn't too long after that album came out where I was in a season of grief. And this album was a huge comfort to me. And so I love having Christian hip hop as a ministry tool. And this album is that. And so I think this album is evergreen in the sense that I will return to it every time I need to return to it. But then it's also there for the replay when I just want to feel uplifted in any way. 350 is on the list. Obviously, Deal's album's on the list. Alert 312 is on my list. I love that album. You get bonus points for being a live band too. So if you can do all your instrumentalization live, you get bonus points. One that I haven't heard talk about much. I don't think this will make like my top 10, but it was just an album that I really enjoyed and got a lot of play of. Was Third Season, with Cutright and that crew.
Third cousin.
Oh man,
yeah,
I knew that. Third cousin.
Well,
cousin.
They need to add another. Third.
They need another thing. That one came up on me because I actually had never heard of Cutright until this year, and he just kind of slid into my DM and was like, "Hey, would you listen to this album?" I'm like, "Sure," and I was like, "Oh man, this is hitting like a De La Soul kind of like party vibe."
Have you ever talked to Cutright?
Yeah, I've ended up talking to him through the year. He's great.
He's like a top 3 human for me. He is like one of the funniest freaking people.
Yes, he's hilarious. And he's a big nerd too, which I really like.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's a really solid project. Hey, we haven't said Bodega 2. I don't want us to get canceled.
I was gonna say it. It's on my list.
Good.
Yep. Yeah, it's on my list. I was gonna put that in the category of like crew albums. So Judas and Bodega 2 are like top tier elite made projects, for sure. I did have Legacy on my list too, Just James. I thought that album was incredible. And then I just listened to Jeremiah Blygen's album. I am in the middle of probably doing a deep dive for the next day or two on that. I started the Sagas album. You brought that one up, Luke, and it was so good that I stopped listening to it so that I could actually review it. So I haven't gotten around to finishing that. But it was one of those albums where I got like 4 songs in. I was like, I need to stop because I'm in the middle of something that might be great. And
you're like, crap, this is really well done. Like I know what that's like too. Like if it's like really well done, you're like, oh, I need to give this like actual focus. Like I can't be doing something else. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, it definitely is one of those.
Yep, I listened to it at work, and I was like, nope, I can't do this at work. I'm not gonna do that. And then I'd go Eshawn. Eshawn's album this year, I thought was good. Eyes on the One from Nazareth. I also tapped into Eshawn's Patreon this year, and he's now since released them on DSPs, but he's releasing these like 20-minute cuts of like a beat that he's done, and then him just reading scripture over like rain or something.
What?
I've been falling asleep to that every night. It's been great.
Yeah,
And so
it's really dope.
I really like that he's doing that. Eshawn, if you see this, please keep doing it. I love it. Keep it coming. And so yeah, man, that's actually a pretty good list of albums there.
It's a great list.
Yeah. definitely.
What did we say? Syfy the Second, Godchild. Did anyone say that? I feel like that's going to be in a lot of people's top 10.
That should be in my. I bet that'll be in my top 10,
Okay.
especially as a freshman entrance, right? Like that's his first album.
First album.
He kind of came out of the cut and dropped a heater.
I want to say he first released it on Bandcamp for like $30 or something. Sorry, we can cut that out. I'm not trying to dog on the guy, but for someone that nobody's heard of, like I was like, no, I buy a lot of albums. I'm not gonna spend money on this. And I'd seen his reels and stuff. I knew he was gonna be dope. Yeah, I just waited for it to drop on DSPs. Yeah.
I thought Fern and A3 both dropped really good EPs this year too.
I agree.
If I were to classify this year, I've said this a lot. I've been saying it all year, and it still remains true. If last year felt like we were seeing a lot of new blood come in and like grow and be great, this year felt like the year of the veteran, and like guys coming back and be like, okay, guys, like you guys have done well. Let me show you how Dad's gonna do it now.
Yeah.
And like some of these guys came in like Jared, like Deal, like Fern and Marty. Marty had a killer year of content.
Hey, don't forget Flame. He's still around. I was looking at his numbers. He's still got like 600,000 listens a month on Spotify. Like Flame is still holding it down, man.
We talked about him on IXC last night and how I have noticed our content, our talk last night, which LNF was there. We were talking about the artist that makes Christian art for Christians, and that's Flame.
Yeah.
Where a lot of artists, most of the artists make highly accessible Christian music to non-believers as well. Where I think, like, I would never give Flame to a new believer.
No.
Because I'm like, do you know who Athanasius is before you listen to the song? like, do you understand, like, the doctrine of baptisms and
Dude,
all
it's
that?
crazy.
Like, you know,
Well, and it's crazy
not...
because, like, Timothy Brindle has been around for a minute, but he's not putting numbers up like that. So it's impressive what Flame's doing.
Yeah. I really enjoyed Flame's album this year too. I thought that was great. So yeah, that was all of our top albums. And now to kind of end the show, we got a fun little segment that I wanted to do is what from looking at 2025, which starts tomorrow, as of this recording. What do we need to start doing, stop doing, and continue doing in CHH? What would you tell artists for each of those categories?
Are we starting with start, or are we just free for all?
Free for all. Well, yeah, let's do start. What should we start doing in 2025?
I think we should start playing shows out west. Come west.
Come on now.
Come west. Like Lecrae and Andy were supposed to be in Vegas a couple years ago, and they didn't sell enough tickets, so they canceled. Like, it happens too much. Just do it. Just someone come play shows out west, and you don't have to be at a church. Come play at a bar. I don't care.
Yeah.
Just like it's crazy that I have to go to Nashville to see a good hip hop show every year. So anyway, that's my rant
What
over.
about
But
Glowfest?
it always happens in like November. I'm working.
Yeah.
Well, they can't work
can't-
around your
was a year.
schedule, Luke.
It can't only. There just needs to be more shows out west. Like, I feel like you get the pick of the litter of like whatever in Atlanta and Nashville. Like, and so when there's only like one show a year out west, I can't. Yeah. Anyway, rant over.
No, I think that has to be on my list as well, man. Like, we got to see more shows out here in the West, man. Miles can't be the only guy carrying that torch, you know. God bless him, man. It's really it's awesome that he is doing it, but we got to have. I would love to see like a Smoke Fest type of event here in Cali or Vegas or wherever it may be. Like, that would be super dope, man. Like, to see something like that. Caleb Gordon, literally, he came out to Berkeley maybe like a month ago, and I didn't even know people knew who Caleb Gordon was in the
Right.
West.
Yeah.
But he sold out. It was, I don't know, it was like a venue out there in Berkeley. Sold it out and just rocked the show. Mission, he opened up for him. He was telling me about it because we're pretty cool. He was telling me about it. He was like, man, like, he blew me away. Like, that he was able to bring his internet presence and sell out an actual venue in Berkeley, which he's not even from Cali. He's from the East Coast. So it's like,
Right.
it's crazy to see that, man. So
Right.
if we can get like more like, if we can get like a No Big Deal out here, if we can get like a Holvey, I believe Holvey is coming out here to Cali next year, but this coming year. But if we can get more of that, man, that would be awesome. That would be phenomenal. I want to get Dayton out here to the West Coast, man.
Yeah.
Like, that would be so dope, man.
I know that, and a couple, like maybe a month ago, Jonah Daniel and I think Jared and Dayton did have a show out west.
Okay.
But it was like, again, it's like a random day. It was like the weekend before Thanksgiving or something like that. I don't remember now, but there needs to be way more. We need to have more choices at least. I think with 7 coming back outside, I think we're gonna see a lot more west and he actually just finished a tour with like Stephen Malcolm or something, and so that's really different for 7 to do because usually he's only with his Hog Mob guys, which they're dope, but I like it that he's like playing with others now. So I hope that 7 keeps doing more. That's something I'm looking forward to for 2025. New 7 album.
Yeah.
And so I think that's gonna help, and that's so if we can start seeing more people out west, let's go. I love that.
Okay. LNF.
All right. I think artist and DJ collaboration. I think I think most people, when they think about it, it's on tour or at a concert. But I think that there's other ways that artists and DJs can collaborate and really bring us back to that essence of hip hop. So I think I'd really like to see us start there. Maybe the time is gone and we're just past that. But I would love it because I think we have so many dope DJs out here within the space that they're more cheerleaders rather than a part of the team. You know what I mean? So I would just like to see that happen. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Not only that, but bring back the scratching, man. Like, I want to hear that.
Yeah.
That
Guilty. I can't scratch, man.
yeah, I want to hear that boom. I want to hear that. Like, bring that back. It's almost like a relic of hip hop that people don't want to use because it's like, is that for the old heads? And it's like, well, if you're not reintroducing it to the next generation, that's what they're going to think.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't agree more. Mine's a little off, a little bit off the beaten path, but I would say like more devotional type material. We had kind of talked about this last night on IXC of just like the spiritual maturity of CHH and how some of the more maybe legacy artists or artists that have been around more can not just make great art, but also continue to push people towards the word more and share more about what they're doing in the community or how they're serving their church or how they're fitting into their body. Or even just doing like a devotional type stuff. I loved seeing some Christian hip hop artists on the Bible app this year. I thought that was awesome. Let's get more people on there doing stuff like that. Ruslan came out with I know he doesn't do a lot of music as much as he used to, but he came out with like his little prayer journal this year. And I think that's cool. I didn't get it, but I think that that's cool. Like for those who need that type of thing, like if they're getting it from Christian hip hop artists, I think that just adds another notch to the belt that we need. So I would say more devotional type material would be great. What would you guys say that needs to stop in 2025.
I mean, we already talked about this earlier, but we got to say it. Stop stealing songs. Stop paying for followers.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
to be a bad guy. Yeah, I'll add on. That's exactly where I was going to go to. The sampling, you know, it is crazy because as a producer, that's how I started out, sampling. And I think it's an essential part of hip hop, but just the legalities, man. Because the thing is, I would hate to see somebody actually get like some litigation, you know what I mean, going
Yeah.
on, and that can destroy your motion, destroy your artistry, and the last thing that we want to do, is be, you know, projected into the mainstream, but that be the cause and the reason of it, you know, be in the news because of that, rather than, you know, and this is not to say Miles is sampling or anything like that, but Miles Minnick is at Big Boy, you know, with John Keith, you know, to speak about CHH, but in a positive light. So the last thing that we want to do is see CHH in a negative light. So same here, man. Stop sampling. That it sucks, but at the same time, you know, and as somebody who's looking for production, it always sucks that you find the perfect one and it's like, you got samples, bro. You know, and sometimes producers won't even tell you. So sometimes that part is not on the artist. You know, I've had a song that I was ready to put out last year, and we had to trash it basically because it's a sample that we didn't know was in there. So
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, all of those, yeah, definitely stop stealing music. Stop doing all those crazy things. Stop paying for streams, all that, and all that craziness. But I think for me, thing that, and you can call me old school, whatever, maybe, I don't care, man. But I feel like the mentality of the single culture mentality, don't get me wrong, I think it's great because I think it's a good predecessor to putting out a body of work. Don't get me wrong. I think that's essential. We need that. But I feel like the mentality of like, I got to put out single every month or every 3 weeks or whatever. I think we got to do away with that. I feel like that mentality we got to do away with because it traps people creatively into this mindset where I got to just put out something. And be honest, there's been a lot of songs that are great this year, but there's been a lot of songs that were straight, if I could be honest, straight garbage this year too, because people will just get caught up in this mentality of like, I got to put something out. I got to put something out. I got to put something out.
But it's rushed.
Yeah, exactly. It's rushed. And so I think I want to see that end. I want to see that mentality end. And I want to see more bodies of work, which I think we're getting back to that because there was so many great albums this year. But I want to see people get back to putting out a masterful body of work. That's what I want to see.
Love it. I have one that kind of goes along with that, James, is if you're going to release a single for an album, don't make it the best song on the album. If I'm listening to an album and I've already listened to your single 15 times and that's the best song that I hear on the album, like I automatically will devalue the album as a result because you have pre-programmed me to think that the rest of the album is going to sound like that. And so pick the song that represents the theme of the album, not the song that necessarily sounds the best. Because that's a personal nitpick. My second thing that I would say stop is this 90-second song thing that's been going around this year that like it tags a stream faster. They get more replays out of it. Every time I hear a good 90-second song, my first thought is I would have loved another 16 on this. And so it kind of goes along with your single thing of like, it feels rushed. It feels like it just wanted to get out. And then in some cases, like if you look at the one that comes off the top of my head was actually from last year, was What Up RG's, what is it called? It's going to bother me.
last year, I know Hollywood.
No, that was the album, God Made a Way.
Okay.
That God Made a Way single, and then he dropped the remix the next year. Well, now I really like the remix because at least I got 316s on it, you know? But I don't play the original anymore.
Yeah.
And so don't give me the appetizer too quickly, would be the thing that I would say. So I don't know. The 90-second song thing is really frustrating me, especially when you get an album that's 25 minutes long with 10 or 12 tracks, and they're all under 2 minutes. And I'm like, what's going on here? So that'd be something I would love to stop. What would you guys like to see continue in 2025?
So I think production. When you listen to a Jeremiah Blyden's album, the soundscape is incredible. And you don't
Cinematic.
usually, it's cinematic, exactly. Yeah. And even just speaking with someone behind the scenes about that album, just the amount of detail that he put into it. He didn't just buy beats off of, BeatStars, YouTube, whatever. He actually added instruments into each part of the production. So I think really I guess just really building upon the production and having excellent production. Even Tory Deshawn's album, I think production wise, that album is really, really good, and I think that's also part of why it stuck out so much and people loved it right off the off the bat, because of the production itself, and it was different from what we were normally hearing. So on both sides, I think that if we can continue to grow as producers, I think the sound of this space would get even better. So hope that continues.
Yeah. I think for me, I want to see more thematic bodies of work continue. Like, there were so many good albums this year that had a theme to it, and I want to see that continue, man, because I think it really taps into something for artists that it takes. I feel like they have to tap into something a little bit different, but I think also like for instance C4 Cortona's album with Dax Hammer, man, like I think there was a sense of vulnerability there. I loved hearing that from him. I loved hearing the vulnerability from like a Jafia on his album. Like, I loved hearing that. Like, and same thing with Swoop in his album. I loved hearing that. Like, I want to see, and especially from these younger artists as well, I want to see like that from some of them. Like, don't get me wrong, man, it's dope to hear like the trappy and all that, but I want to hear like the struggles you go through sometimes too, because it's good. Like, okay, hey, it's good to hear like the uplifting, the upbeat type of records, but I want to hear also the struggles, because to be honest, that ministry value can really hit home for a lot of people if we actually can get that more of that from these artists. And so I want to hear more of that going into 2025.
I love that. Looks like we lost Luke, and looks like DJ Rome is trying to connect, but he just hasn't connected. If I'm doing a continue, I want to continue the festivals. I love that the festivals are growing. I love that we see multiple crews coming. And then I would love to see even more regional things, because right now it just feels like Glowfest in the West, Holy Smoke in the Midwest, and then
Flavorfest.
Thank you, Flavorfest on the East Coast.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get those to cross over more? Like, I would love to see a Menace Movement style, or like a A.O. Shamir gritty TLS type thing. That's another thing I want to see continue. More crews. We have so many like crews now that like we have Menace Movement, we got the Indie Tribe guys, we got TLS, we got Gritty, we got
GOM,
God Over Money, we got the Polished Arrow guys. There's just so many crews now that it's like it feels like everyone's in Wu-Tang Clan again, and like I love that. Let's keep that going. Create more of that. Heaven on Earth, like more of that. I want that, and then continue using Scribe Music for your hooks. He didn't get enough hooks in this year.
Yes.
I love Trent. He's a great guy. But also he put out another album because I'm ready for another Scribe Music album.
I think
Sorry,
he's dropping. He said he's going to drop.
Did you hear his church's his worship album?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was incredible.
Great.
I'll send it to you,
yeah.
LNF. His
Great.
like church worship group that he's in, they released a great worship album this year.
Yeah, a lot of covers, but it's great. It's great.
Yeah,
It's
it
great.
sounds good.
Okay.
But, well, Luke's gone. Everyone's gone. There you have it. There's our recap of the year. I'm going to send it around, guys. Any last words to cap off 2024?
Last thing, I'll just say this. Hell's Paradise 3 is in 2025. Looking forward to that. That Hell's Paradise 2 brought me into CHH. To have Wit and Dre Murray back again, I think they are the best duo in the space, period. Yeah, they're like the Snoop and Dre. So looking forward to that, man. And I think we had a great year in 2024. Looking forward to 2025 and all that it entails.
Yeah. I'm ready for more legends, man, to come back, man. Like you said, man, the Dre Murrays. It sounds like he's might not be retiring. Not
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
So, so I'm looking forward to that, man. I'm looking forward to hearing more Dre Murray. Seven's back now, so I'm looking to hear that 7 album. And I just want to hear more legends come back, man, and just drop some dope music, man, because we got so much of it this year from the mainstream with the Snoop and Dre's and the Dog Pounds and the and all these Rakim and L Cool J and all that. I want to hear the legends from CHH do that, man. Maybe we get a Lecrae album this year. That would be so dope, man, for 2025. So those are the things I'm looking forward to, man. And hey, man, 2024 set the bar, man. So we can only go up. So.
Well said, James. Well said. I was going to kind of say the same. I am really looking forward to Jared's Famous Enough this year. Asked him several times if I could film a focus group on that album, specifically the second disc of that album. It's just, I think it's gonna create conversations the way Swoop's album did this year, as far as like how relatable and how accessible that album is, specifically for married men who are fathers. Like, it's going to blow your guys away. Yeah. And I'm just excited for what next year has to bring personally, for Big Swiss and for, all of y'all, especially, I know a lot of content that's coming down the line that people are working on. So, I believe you said it right, 2024 to set the bar, but, next year, I think we have to continue running the race. So, man, thanks for putting this together, LNF. This was super fun to talk about. I'd love to hear in the comments what you guys think we left out, what we should have talked about, whatever. Let us know in the comments. And hey, if you guys want to hop on and have another conversation, I'd love to do it. Maybe like a quarterly check-in. I know B Plus and Luke do their quarterly album reviews. I think that's a fun idea. Maybe we do that on topics of like what's going on in the space. That might even be a fun idea. But for everyone on here, this is Big Swiss, and we'll see you next time. Peace. I love how you guys both did that at the same time. Wait.